over at 96.5 The Beat out in Little Rock. Salute
Yep,
to you.
yep.
I'm glad you on with the team.
Yep. 96.5 The Box.
Yeah,
We're
96.5
doing
The Box.
it's called OG Sundays, man.
That's
So
right. I've been doing that for almost a year.
Kill it.
Nice.
So salute him for doing that. And like I said, once you get recognized for being a good mix show DJ, the opportunities, just like for El Boogie, they come a lot easier because they know, one, you're reliable. That's the most important thing. Two, you're going to do quality work. And then three, you're always, moving in different directions. So I think Boogie's on another station in Arkansas where he's doing new school, and another station is doing old school. So when a lot of people start doing mix shows, you don't get caught up into just doing one thing. That's why I'm on like 14 different stations, and most of them are different. So we're going to talk about something. I'm just waiting for a few people to come in. Let me just check. Let me get my phone. Sure they can get in. I'm going to have program directors, because I want you to learn from the standpoint of a program director and a standpoint from a veteran DJ that's been doing it. So BPAS has been doing program directing for about 20 years between North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia. So he knows the game. He knows what, program directors are looking for, and that can help everybody with their careers moving forward. I'm also going to have Kane from 96.5 The Box next month. He's going to come in. So I'm going to try to switch it out, get different people to come in and just help everybody. And then, like I said, while we discussing things, get your questions together.
Oh
get
my God.
That you have. Get those together.
So my great niece, Doug.
Hey, make sure you're on mute if you're just tuning in, just listening in. Let me see if I can mute.
And like I said, so let me just check on everybody, see if everybody is
She was stay confident.
How do I do?
I just sent her, what's her name? Okay. Just waiting for a few more.
What up, fellas, ladies, gents?
Is that Skinny?
Yeah. I'm here. I'm in the background on mute. I'm at the trap.
Here.
All right, then.
Not the trap.
He on the plantation. What's good, Nabs? I see you.
What's up, Nabs? What up, Malone? I see you.
What up?
What up, OS?
What up, man?
What's up, brother?
Okay, let's get started. Paz, give him a little introduction to you and your background in this radio game that you've been in for a minute.
Oh man, it's my 23rd year commercial radio. A program for iHeart, Cumulus, Radio One. I'm currently the VP of strategy and content for Radio Grind, which is the Chubb Rock show, which is nationally syndicated in about 15 markets. And I do Digging in the Crates also in Authentic Caribbean, which is 2 weekend shows we have. I've been on the air. I do a syndicated night show that's on in 5 markets. We just picked up another market in Oregon today. In Oregon, I didn't even know. I know. I was like, all right. And that's what I do. I'm from the Carolinas. I
think we're losing them a little bit.
in Georgia and South Carolina, Columbia, Wilmington, Columbus, Georgia, Albany. I start off with Power 98 in Charlotte. That's my home station. So that is that's where I'm at, man. You know, so I've been doing this for a minute. This radio's all up, pretty much what I've done since I graduated from college. I went to East Carolina University. I live in Raleigh now, but I do everything home base here. Our home base is in Atlanta. I just go there once every couple months. So.
Okay. Guess what?
I'm in my new studio. I see my new studio looking good on the.
Yeah, I see you back there. I see you.
I see my plaques in the back, and my money is looking real good. I'm at the.
Gotta
Yeah.
put them back there, man.
Yeah. So shout my man Scass Digger helped me build this week.
That's my guy right there.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's me, man. That's me.
Okay, real quick. Hey, Nabs, you on the line? Is Nabs on there?
I saw Maxwell on that motherfucker. I saw Nabs, aka Maxwell, the DJ.
I don't know if we can hear him.
Yeah, he's not muted, but not hearing your audio.
I don't know. Is he still in there? Let me just text him real quick.
He's in here, but can't hear his audio.
Yeah, I think he hears us, but he's not.
He might have to join with that computer audio again.
Go down by the microphone, hit the up arrow, go to audio settings, change his mic to same as system if he's on a computer. And just hit test and it'll kick in for him.
How about now?
There he is.
Oh, yeah. There
he is.
You know, I had you guys pumping in stereo. I didn't know we was going to music on here. I got my subwoofer plugged up, so
Where your vest at?
You know, I can't find it, Pace.
That needs to be in the Hip Hop Hall of Fame. The red vest that Nabs wore in Arsenio, we putting that joint in the Hip Hop Hall of Fame in Brooklyn in 2022.
There we go.
You need to.
There we go. Hey, Nabs, man, tell the people a little bit about you, veteran in the game, if they don't know. Just give them a little something.
I started in
long.
Well, no, I'm gonna make it short, and we're gonna go by the decades real quick. I started in the '80s, and I started in Durham, where I'm from, and so that was '84. And then 4 years later, I'm not Skip Frosty. Frosty made a record, I Need Love, answer record at LL Cool J. We went on tour with Jabby Jeff and all them, 2 Live Crew, blah, 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 about '87. In '88, I moved to Atlanta, got on the radio there, and, you know, did other things with So Def, crisscross and tours. But so I had one foot in the music business with So Def for the last 25 years. And then the last 30 years in radio in Atlanta. Also had XM experience early with my man B Pays.
All right.
Absolutely.
And then was on XM a couple of times later, just doing Scream tour promotions with Mike Malden, who's JD's dad. So, and then I'm back in Carolina, which is, you know, a lot of people don't know that, but just close to home and just operating from the lab, what we call M City now.
All right now.
And Nabs is actually my neighbor. He lives 5 minutes from me. So
Hey, I don't know if you tell people where you live, but I don't tell people that. So you tell them you live five minutes.
I didn't say what city we was in. I just said you live 5 minutes from me.
I just let them know.
Well, we know it's close to Raleigh.
Okay, real quick, I just want to reiterate with you guys. We're talking about mix shows. We're trying to help DJs. You know, I want to keep this craft and everything going. I want to talk a little bit about mix shows. And like I said, we're going to go from a perspective from a DJ, from a program director, how these things work. My first question is going to be towards DJ Nabs, because you started in the area pre-Serato. So how did you get everything together for those early mix shows on V103 and Hot 97? Was it Hot 979? Was it back then?
Hot 97.5.
Hot 97.5. How did you program and get your sets together? How did you break records? Because you broke a lot of records. I know, because I used to listen to you. So
well, I'll address the first part. Back in '88, when I got on V103 in Atlanta as mix show, Fresh Parties, you had to pre-record the mixes at home. So I had a 4-track recorder, and I did not have a reel to reel. So I had to go to the station and in real time record my mixes on a reel to reel, then turn that mix into Tony Brown, who's the program director at that time. And the trick was, if there was a 2-hour block, Saturday Night Fresh Party or whatever, and another DJ was on from 10 to 11 and I was on from 11 to 12, we had to call each other first. Whoever finished their mix first had to call the other one to make sure you didn't use the same songs.
Okay.
So that's how painstaking it used to be. All right. So then programming your mix then, and I still think now, is all about your relationship with the program director and what their expectation is and how much freedom you're given. So that basic idea, even back then, I still think now, was to play the hits and sandwich a new record in between the two. And when I started in the 80s, I was very scratch happy. So I had to be brought down to scratch less and less, as the culture grew and grew, if that makes sense.
Right.
So I don't know if I answered fully.
Yeah, definitely. Paige, from a programmer standpoint, what are program directors looking for when they're looking for DJs for mix shows? What are some of the things that you guys are pretty much looking for?
I think Nabs talked about a little bit. I mean, you have to understand playlists, understand the business part of it. I think that I always have a philosophy for every 3, I gave them 1. So that was my philosophy for mixes. So every 3 records need to be a hit, rotation, blah, blah, blah. But that 4th one could be a new record that you wanted to test. So if you had an hour mix show or whatever, you could get you get 2 or 3 in. Understanding business and playlists and dealing with labels, because the thing is with dealing with labels, there's going to be certain points at certain times that you're having to do different things with labels to get promotions for stations and things like that. And I used to tell my mixers, listen, everybody gets a hustle and everybody, has to do what they have to do. But if you get to that 10th spin, which becomes an automatic ad, and you don't let me know that, then we're going to have another conversation, because what happens is, as a programmer, you're getting work by major label guys and regional guys or whatever. And I came from Mixshow. So my first job was hosting Mixshow at Power 98 in Charlotte. That's how I got started with Incognito, and DJ K Nice and Bass and all those guys. But you have to understand that there's certain times you can play records, certain times you can't. And understanding that if I'm in the middle of, and I know it doesn't give me any leeway to do what I need to do on my side, then that's something that, you kind of have to be able to, understand. It's a business. I've been lucky in my life to have some great mentors and great mixers, and, like Nabs. And I came up on, at Charlotte, K Nice and Incognito, and in my life, I've had some great ones work for me, like Bill Black and DJ Frosty and Shorty Slim, who's B.O.B.'s DJ, and a lot of these guys, and they were great radio mixers. There's good club mixers and there's good radio mixers, and there's a difference. And most of y'all, if you do radio and you do clubs, there's a difference. I know guys that could never step into a club on the radio. They would have an issue. But I know the opposite. I know guys that are in clubs could never step on the radio, because they didn't understand that, Nabs talk about the scratching and things like that. I mean, that does. I saw at one time in my career, I got to go to WGCI in Chicago and go through a perceptual with listeners, and about mixed shows and things like that. And the number one thing that turned a woman off listening to a mix show was they didn't get to hear most of the record, and they were going back and forth too much. And that was like the number one thing that turned women at that time. I think it was like 18 to 34 demo. But great mixers know how to do those things without it stepping out and being loud about it. Great mixers know how to go back and forth, or how to blend a record, or take an acapella with an instrumental and do those great things. I mean, you got Nabs on here, and I tell people all the time, I have a list of OG great mixers in my life that have influenced me who I've worked with. Nabs is in my top 5. I know he's going to be shy about that, but Nabs is in my top 5 because Nabs understood the business side of radio, but he also understood what he had to do as a mixer. And so that, I think one of those, you can be a great radio mixer.
Definitely. Hey, real quick, DJ L Boogie, one of our fleet DJs. Boogie, what's some of the process that you use right now in today's game by going back and forth with internet and FM right now that can help DJs today?
Yeah, so some things, first of all, understand that they're very different. FM radio and internet radio, totally different beasts. FM, like has been said already, it's a business. It's really about the playlist. It's not about breaking music, and it's definitely not about trying to flex your skills on the radio. That's not what the platform is for. However, on internet radio, there's a lot more freedom to play, whatever records you want to play. But I would say that doesn't change the listener preference. And what I mean by that is listeners don't want to hear a lot of scratching and beat juggling. That's kind of don't go on any radio platform trying to DJ for other DJs. What you want to do is DJ for listeners, because listeners want to hear the music. They want to hear the song. They want to hear the hook. They want to hear the chorus. So one big thing for me, drop placement. I hear DJs having their drops all over the place, all over the lyrics of the song. You never want to put DJ drops anywhere, or even station drops anywhere in the mix. Put it in a place where there's, where you got a beat loop or something where there's not a part of the song where the listener wants to hear. And one, they're not going to hear it, and you're just interrupting their vibe with the mix, with the song actually. So those are a couple of things that differences between FM radio and internet. Also keep in mind the platform you're on. If it's internet, that doesn't mean you can play explicit versions, because some stations it's all clean. So you want to make sure you know the platform you want, you know what the standards are for whatever station you're on. If it's internet, it doesn't mean it's just you can play whatever. If it's clean, then you need to stay clean. You need to make sure you're I use the intro outro versions, so you can get a good blend as far as bringing songs in, transitions. They work very well for good transitions. So but I don't want to get into too much technical stuff right now, but I'm gonna keep it at that, and then toss it back to you, OS.
Okay, real quick, this is another topic, and I know Nabs pretty knows this situation a lot. At one point, when I worked at 104.5 down in Fayetteville, I had the 5 o'clock mix, and I had to do it every day. So I ran into a problem like 2 or 3 years in of kind of burning myself out, because you're trying to find different ways to stay creative doing the mix at 5. And I know you had a 5 o'clock mix and you were doing throwbacks, but how did you keep the energy, and how did you stay creative when you're on every day? It could be a day you're not in a great mood. How did you keep that going? Because that's an issue that only DJs that have to DJ every day really understand, that you can burn yourself out.
Right. I think early in my career, and I pretty much recorded all of my career, because again, early we had to record it. We had to pre-record it anyway. Now, obviously, by the time we got to Serato, you can just record it inside your computer. So I say that to say, I used to get burnt out in the early days of the bass records, the early days of Hot 95, Hot 97.5, so I would say from 1996 to 99. Once I got into the space of doing old school records, 5 o'clock traffic jams, like you say, the classic hip hop station, I didn't repeat a mix once, really. I mean, not necessarily a mix. I didn't have to repeat a theme.
Okay.
Because classic hip hop, it was always somebody's birthday. Unfortunately, we had anniversaries of passings. When Prince passed, that show that I did that particular day, right? and I'm saying this is more current. So the difference is yes, it was an issue in the past when I was just limited to 3 to 5 years of records.
Right.
But when I got on a classic hip hop station, I didn't have that problem at all. I like every day was just another, experience I could have. But to address the whole idea of being stuck creatively, I think no matter if it's DJ or anything else, you got to do other things. And so my life, I kept it, from the gym to other things. I'm in the gym 6 days a week also. And I'm on the station 5 days a week, 6 days a week, but 5 days during the traffic jam. But I'm in the gym hearing jazz and other things, and that's sparking my mind. And then I'm going to the station right after the gym.
Right.
So, I just try to pull from everywhere, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense.
And that's really kind of how I move with it.
B, how about situations where you have a lot of, it's a lot of music coming in at these DJs and stuff like that. How do you keep it to the fact that, hey, I need you to kind of stay in this lane a little bit, especially because there's a difference between noon, 5, and 9 or 10. How do you get those DJs prepared for those different time slots?
My night mixers were always more aggressive than my 5 o'clock mixers. 5 o'clock, you're a little bit more mainstream. So I always gave my night mixers a little bit more leeway. There was records that I would tell my night mixers they could play. We couldn't play at 5 o'clock. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So there was always, and I broke up a little bit, so I missed your part of the question. So if I don't answer right, tell me. But each day part was different. Like noon was different from 5. 5 was different from 9. Those mixers were different on different levels on how those, and I've been places that I was required to have a mix show playlist from corporate, and I've been in places I didn't have to.
Right.
I prefer the non-playlist. Now listen, when we got to springtime and we were doing birthday bashes and summer jam and shit like that, we had lists. I had to get records in, and that's just keeping it real. Like, yo, we got, I got 7 artists coming and they all got new records. I don't have room for them rotation wise. We got to get them in, got to get familiar with the audience because we're going to have them on stage. I can think back to 2009. I did a birthday bash at 100.1 Beat in Columbia. I had like 22 artists.
Wow.
I mean, like 22 artists. And I mean, from Lloyd to Zoe to Jock to, Big Boy was my headliner. And Andre 3000 ended up coming with him, which was a surprise, which was ridiculous. But I had so many artists. So like my mixers like Frosty and those guys, I mean, they just had to work with me. You know what I'm saying? Right. They had to work with me because if I didn't have room for, but they understood the part of the team element of, hey, if we're going to do a great station event, then we have to do this. But I don't particularly like mix show lists. The only time I ever had to was from a corporate mandate, or if I got mixers that really got out of whack. Like I listened. I remember one time, man, this is real. Like I was listening to a live club broadcast on one of my stations, and I can't remember what market I was in. It was 10 o'clock still, so people are listening. And that joker was in there playing. It was like Indie Week or something. He was in there, man. I heard like 7 new records in a row, man. I got in my car, drove to the club, like, what are you doing? Like, still on the radio. Like, even though it's the club, like, we're still on the radio. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's the only way I usually dictate it, really putting lists in. Is like, I always give folks enough rope. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll give you a leadway, but then, and that goes back to understanding how to be a radio mixer. I've taken guys straight from clubs and put them in radio. I mean, and Nabs can probably tell you, like, a lot of those guys that when they launched Hot 97.5 in Atlanta in the 90s, because I'm a huge, what you know about me, I'm a huge radio historian. Like, I love this shit. Like, I love the history of urban, radio and things. But when they launched it, a lot of those guys, and Nav can kind of chime, a lot of those guys weren't radio guys. I mean, they were club guys that they ended up putting on the radio. And so, I mean,
I'll add to that just to say something that Mary Catherine, who was the, I guess, COO of Radio 1 back there, she said the reason that Hot 97.5 in 96, 95, 96 was going to work against B103, the powerhouse station, was because we never did it before.
Mm-hmm.
That's literally what she said. We didn't come in with preconceived notions of how it should be with the root. And of course, we had to be guided. We had veterans like Ryan Cameron as the morning anchor. You know what I mean? Because even community events, myself, Chris Lover, which is Ludacris, Poon Daddy, Shaka Zulu, none of us had been on stages with children in schools, community, but Ryan Cameron. So Hot 97.5 whole staff behind him learning how to be a radio personality. We was good in the club.
Yeah, and it's so much. It's so much. It's so different.
Jerry Smoker B coming over just doing this thing. Won't even a PD, but he might as well have been in the early days. So, yeah.
And I'll tell you, man, I've been lucky enough to be in situations. I grew up in the Carolinas, and growing up I grew up in Salisbury, North Carolina, which is right between Charlotte and Greensboro. And in my life, I grew up enough to hear like such good radio and being able to interact with great mixers at that time and really understanding and learning the game, like I said. And that's how I learned. I mean, I came up in that era where we were going to Mixshow Power Summit and Gavin's and, Impact Music Summits with mixers. We were going like, Mixshow Power Summit. I don't know how many of y'all familiar with that, but like in the late 90s and early 2000s, we had this thing on Mixshow Power Summit, and it was just phenomenal. Renee McLean just did a phenomenal job of bringing all the mixers into the forefront and and it was just, I mean, I can tell you so many artists that were broke during that time when Cash Money wasn't Cash Money, when, there was new artists just rolling through. And I think, that we've come to I know the Fleet has their conference and Core has their conference and things like that. But I still think that thing that we had with Mixshow Powers, and I think Renee's trying to bring it back. I was on a Clubhouse with him. I think that will be something eventually that if they could bring that back, it really does, it does a great thing for the culture as a DJ, but it really gets you to interact with other radio DJs and other things like that and kind of see how they flow.
Definitely. Oh, real quick, what I'm trying to do, and I got Boogie with me also, what we're trying to do is, I'm over at Hot 97. So what I'm doing, I'm the oldest and I'm the only DJ on the station that's ever done radio. My job as Mixshow coordinator is to teach the DJs how to be professionals, how to do things, because like you said, we brought in a bunch of DJs that's never done it before. And on this call, I have a lot of DJs that's never done it before. So that's the whole premise of what I'm trying to do, because I feel like we always got to give back to the culture at some point to make sure things run right, So what I want to do is I want to open up if anybody got any questions real quick for anybody on these panels. No question is a bad question. You understand what I'm saying? So I don't want anybody to feel intimidated or anything to ask a question, because that's how you're going to learn whatever you need to learn. Does anybody got any questions real quick? You can unmute yourself.
Just unmute yourself and spit your question.
I do.
Out. Go ahead.
I do. This is DJ Most Precious. I have a question of how can an internet radio DJ what is the groundwork as far as getting on FM? Like, should they network with PDs or what? Like, what is that step to securing a weekly or guest show appearance on the FM station?
Gonna take that pace. PD.
Yeah,
Pays the PD.
I think the thing is just, you know, and I think El Boogie had talked about how internet and FM is different. It definitely is. I think just start to do those mixes and just start sending them out. I mean, that's what, listen, as somebody that is responsible with our program, and I have, you know, content direction for stations around the nation, up to 15 sometimes, and we're looking for mixers and things like that. You have to be able to have content now with, you know, you have to be able to find that content for your station. Look, we don't have the budgets and we don't have the people and sometimes that's available to us 24/7. So we're looking for continuous content, continuous good mixers, continuous thing. You know, I've been in long enough that I've got a list of folks that I have, you know, that I know when if I launch a new station or if a thing. But you start to send them out to programs because, like, you know, Mixshow weekends is good to really get your foot in the door. If there's a show that you feel like needs a Mixshow and they don't have one, send it to them. You know, get your drops, get the show done complete. Because what we're looking for as a programmer, we're looking for a complete Mixshow. We don't want to have to do too much because we don't have that time. We're less bodies. We're programming 5 and 6 stations at a time. So we like to have it in rare form, like Chubb has a syndicated mix show on the weekend, Chubb Rock, called Digging in the Crates. It's a classic hip hop and R&B show. We're in like 50 markets nationwide. But it's a 2-hour show. And when we send it to that programmer, it's already done. It's done. All he has to do is put his content on the in and out. So that's what, if you can give them a complete product, then you're ready to go. And just understanding, I mean, look at your radio charts. You know, look at Media Base, look at BDS, look at the charts, see what the records are, see your top 20, top 30 records that are moving, records that are dying, recurrence, things like that, and make sure you include all that in your mix, because that's what we're looking for. We're looking for a capsule, a snapshot of what we do on a daily basis on the radio station.
Definitely.
Got it. Thank you so much.
No problem. No problem at all.
I have a question. How is as important, if at all, is having some type of clock, like, you know, a regular show like a Breakfast Club or something, you know, they have a clock, a running clock. So, you know, okay, commercial, we're running this part for 15 minutes, blah, 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 and then we give the listeners a break. How important is that as it pertains to mix shows? I know for my mix shows, I try to give them a break, 15 minutes, where I'll try to plug something either I'm doing, or I'll plug something Fleet is doing, or I'll do something of that nature, or I'll have, you know, someone do like a quick little news break or something like that, and then I go back into it for another 10, 15 minutes. Is that something, kind of piggybacking on what Most Precious said, is that something that PDs would also be looking for on the FM side, or is it strictly just, you know, for an hour we just running bangers, you know what I mean, dropping every now and then?
I think, and Navs can probably tell me, because Navs has worked in multiple stations. I think every station is different. I have some stations that I kind of look at, that oversee, that are, you know, we go 20 breaks, but I have some that break at 15. I have some that break at 35. They sweep all the way in from top of the hour into 35. So it's going to be different everywhere. And which is, it can be a little difficult for a mixer that's trying to send multiple mixes out. But the pretty much the basic thing is usually 20 to 23 minutes. You know, even if they break it like 15 or 17, they can still go past that a little bit, or maybe start the mix before it's up. There's a lot of folks that start, like if they do a 5 o'clock mix, they start at 4:55 trying to beat their competition into the 5 o'clock. So they'll start it at 4:55 coming out of that commercial break. So it's usually 20 to 23 minutes. I've got a guy that mixes for me now in about 5 stations, and they're all 23 minutes. You know, yeah, and you know, and always leaving a minute instrumental or 30 seconds. Now, I always leave a minute. I tell everybody to leave a minute, and then if we need to cut it off, we need to cut it off. But the one thing that I do not, a lot of folks used to do, they'd leave like 2 and 3 minutes at the end of these mixes. Brother, nobody in radio is talking 2 to 3 minutes anymore.
Right.
I mean, I'm just telling you, unless it's, I mean,
unless they on the internet, that's why I want to chime in.
Yeah. Nabs can tell you, I mean, because it's different everywhere.
Yeah, so because the thing with the internet, and I just talk about this regularly with just folks I'm around. Some of the internet shows I see are emulating radio. And that kind of goes back to the beginning of this call where I heard the whole point of internet radio is another platform. So in other words, right, radio does these breaks for an actual reason. I mean, and it's not the DJ's call at all. We breaking because we being told when to break, right? They're doing it for all these different reasons. And the last time I did Ramona DeBro's show midday on B103 around 2018, I did her mix show a couple of times for, I think, her lunch break. She had more breaks than the average person. And that mix show might have went 11 minutes, 10 minutes, because them commercials, 9, 10 spots. You on internet radio, break the rules. If I'm listening to you on the internet radio, I'm just going to give you an example for me personally, to where I might want to hear that show on commercial radio. Is just something really creative, something, Drink Champs. It's not the same exact thing. I know we talking about mix show DJs, but the idea is to be pioneering on the internet and make radio, which is the corporate, slow moving thing, come and grab you and put you on. You know what I mean? So I think ultimately you don't even need the breaks in there because you're just emulating radio. You got ad space, you know what I'm saying? Ain't no need to do it. This is just me.
Nabs is correct. I mean, where we're at too, with how COVID kind of impacted it, people, I'm telling you, like, we are looking for content, like on a national level. Programmers don't have budgets like they used to. We don't have that. So we're looking for that packaged content that if I say, hey, if I say Nabs, if I call Nabs right now and say, hey, Nabs, I've got 7 stations. I need a Southern bass mix that runs 2-hour weekly. You know what I'm saying? That I want to run on weekends in my stations that are on the South or Midwest or whatever. Then that's what we're looking for. I can go to Nabs and Nabs can put it in, have all the drops ready to go. All I'm doing is putting it in. I don't have to add nothing. I add, the beginning of the mix, the end of the mix. You know what I'm saying? I add the local content for each station. Each station will have different local content. But what's in the middle is what we're looking for. We're looking for that great content that mixers can provide. And we do want you to stick out. We do want you to, if you playing, there's a guy I heard him I was in Atlanta with Chubb a couple of weeks ago, and he's on B103 in Atlanta. It's Nabs, what's his name? Baby Drew.
Yeah, Baby Drew.
Baby you.
Canada. Even Canada.
Baby you, though. You probably talking about Baby You.
Baby You.
Yeah, Baby You. Phenomenal mix. One of the best mixes I've ever heard in my life on radio. Because you know why? Because B103 is a station that's kind of a hybrid radio station. So they like to tap into young end, but they like to tap in the upper end too, because they're a big station. But he was playing he would go into a new record, into a throwback record, into a new record, a sample. He would use he would sample, he would go into a record that's playing, the Pop Smoke record that samples the Genuine record. He would go into Genuine after that. It was phenomenal. It was one of the best mixes I've heard in a long time on radio. And I critique radio. My wife I know she hates it. Sometimes she rile me in the car because I critique radio all day long. I critique mixes. And I was shut up by him. He shut me up.
Real quick, this was brought to me recently because I've been doing radio for I think 12 years now. And DY told me this one, that he told me that he didn't want me to have a host. He wanted me to be the host. So I had to mix and be the host. So I know Flex was the first one that kind of started that, Funkmaster Flex. But I know Nabs, you became an on-air personality as well as a DJ.
Yeah, let me
help me in my career to last longer. Yeah. How do you think? How was that transition? For me, it was a little rough, but I got it. Now I love it.
What year did Flex start mixing and hosting?
I would say he started that maybe
97, 98.
98.
Oh yeah, I was
98.
hired in '96. I started first.
Okay, then you the I take that.
And I'm gonna go before that. Greg Street came to Atlanta in '95. B Pace. Do you remember? Or do you know?
Yeah, because he went, Dallas, 95.
Greg Street came to V103, bought turntables. Remember, I said this is V103, 88 to Greg Street came, pre-recorded mixes on reel-to-reels or cassette. Greg Street came and bought 1,200 turntables, plugged them into turntables. I plugged them into the tape deck, and that's how I started doing the mix show in 1995. And unlike most people, all this is filmed. I have this. I ain't even showing Greg. And then they gave me my own show called The Thunderstorm. So before Hot 97.5 we even did, I started hosting and mixing my own show in 1996. And then we got the Hot 97.5. So Flex is definitely not. And that is undisputed. I'm glad you brought that up.
How was the transition though? Because like I said, for me, I got used to host with break. I just come in and say a little something and then kind of get back. But how was the transition?
I think it's how you start. Because if you 12 years and I started in '84 and we in Carolina. So my first time on the radio was Waxmaster Tory. So I didn't do it for many years. I didn't speak on the microphone really until Crisscross, the Michael Jackson tour. That's 1992. We didn't get the rap station in Atlanta till 1996. So once I came back for the Michael Jackson tour, I was very on the mic on the turntables. So when I got hired at Hot 97.5, I had in my contract, which I still have printed, that I had to do my mix show live.
That's what's
and
up.
I've had it in my contract with Radio 1 all the way through.
Okay, that's what's up. Because
but I don't know if I'm answering your question. I'm just saying I didn't even approach it no other way. Once I got the opportunity.
And a lot of mixers have became show personalities. I mean, Nabs was a mixer, but then, he had, one of the most popular shows on Hot 97.5. When I went to Columbia, South Carolina to program 100.1 The Beat, I needed a night job, and I went over to cross the street.
I think we lost him a little bit.
But OS, I don't think I'm sure we're getting.
He got their best mixer. DJ. Yeah, went and turned him into a night job.
But go ahead, Nabs, because like I said, I want this to be kind of something that I want the DJs to listen to about becoming more than just a DJ. Because nowadays you got the internet, because my social media is a part of who I am. And you're more than just a guy that can mix.
Let me act like there's no programmer on this station, right? Because even though Pays is a great programmer, and I've had lots of great experiences with programmers like Jerry Smokey B, even Reggie Rouse, right? But what I'm saying, if I just get all the way on the DJ side, all the way through from mix show to clubs to touring, at the end of the day, everybody wants to go to radio for branding. People went to the internet because they couldn't get on the radio. So we understand this. I think it's about setting expectations. What are we looking to do once we get our name out there? Yes, get on the radio, get money in the clubs, that sort of thing. And I think that's just changing or has changed, a lot.
Yes.
Especially now. So I think people just got to kind of figure out why they want, what are they really trying to say? Mixing two records together when you really don't care to learn how to mix, but you want to be on the radio, maybe you just need to be a personality, not a mixer. If you're a gifted DJ, gifted turntablist, you'll be producing and on the radio and touring, and that gift will take you wherever. But radio, you need to identify your gift, I think. You know what I mean? Because just getting on the mix show is not enough.
Right.
You need to make the difference to that program director. You need to understand too many people will do it for free. The value is brought down super low. That's why I'm just saying on just the DJ side, the value of this whole shit is brought down real bad. So I don't even know how we address that. you know what I mean?
Right.
Because there were slots to get in, and only people who cared to mix got in. Now we have those that don't necessarily understand what they want to do, and they're all trying to do the same thing, and nobody knows why they're doing it.
Exactly. Anybody else got any questions real quick?
I don't have a question. I have a comment though. I'm, that I don't think everybody needs to be a radio personality, even if they're, mix show DJ. And I think I think people just need to clearly define. I think Nav's hit it on the head. Just define what is the
You want to
you are
do
trying to do, what you want to do.
exactly.
I don't care to be a radio personality. I just want to be a mix show DJ, and I'm fine with that. You know what I'm saying? And so that's my lane. That's what I
Right.
do, and I'm gonna do that better than whoever. So I'm gonna perfect that, right? And I think that's really the attitude. Figure out what you want to do and do it better than everybody else, and you'll be fine.
Definitely, definitely, definitely. The reason why I brought that up is because I had never had most PDs. I had some great PDs coming up, and then I did internet radio first. So that was my introduction to speaking on a mic, XDU at Duke University. And shout out to Bro Rab, because Bro Rab was one of the first people to really train me how to run the board and stuff like that. And that was 15 years ago. But I think that this was a great forum. I'm going to keep this going. And like I said, B-Page, man, when I met you over the station, I had your number, said, I'm still going to call you. And I'm still going to call you. You got a lot of knowledge, my brother. And I'm just keeping it like that, man. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, listen, man, I love this industry and I love what we do. And I mean, OS, if anybody here on this call needs my number, OS can share it. You can share it with them, my social media or whatever, DM me or if you need to call me or text me, it's fine. Like I have no problem in that. And it's good to know programmers because listen, I get calls sometimes where guys are looking for mixers. You know what I'm saying? They can't find a mixer or they're having a problem with the mixer because we all talk, all us programmers nationwide, we talk all the time. It don't matter if I'm in Cleveland or if you're in Raleigh or whatever, we talk and people are always looking, you know what I'm saying? Because sometimes you got to refresh in your station. I mean, sometimes you have to reset it. And sometimes you have to, you looking for somebody to shake up. And I used to bring, I'm gonna keep it real, man. Like I'm an old school programmer and learn from some old school guys. I used to bring in ringers, what I call a ringer every once in a while. Like when my mixer started to get a little slack or something, I'd bring in somebody like a Nabs or somebody to do an hour just to blow their head off. And then I'm like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? I mean, for real, that's what I would do. And I would be like, step y'all's fucking game up.
My man Snow Dog does that. He does that. Yeah. He'll call me and say, come down here, man, do a set, man, because they're getting lazy.
And I was taught that from a program director used to bring me in and like play air checks in front of me, talking about this dude wants your damn job. And I'd be like, damn, this dude good as hell. So I mean, no, it's not a problem. Absolutely. Anything I can help, man.
Hey, OS, we got a question in the chat room. DJ Rec One says, is there a way we can have our mixes listened to for critique?
We can do that.
Yeah, we can do that in the house as far. I mean, we're fleet, so we have
but this is my thing is for that. If you really want critique, you got to be able to take the criticism, the good and bad. You know what I'm saying? Because some people get in their feelings where if somebody's trying to show you something to get better. You understand what I'm saying? So, and it just like, me, I'm a radio dude. I love listening to other DJs and I got Nabs on the line, and I moved from when I was living in Connecticut, I moved to Atlanta. I left listening to Hot 97, and I swear DJ Nabs was on it playing hot shit that made me not homesick no more. And I salute you for that because you was playing hot shit on the radio, and I was like, damn, I ain't gonna get that flavor no more. And you really represented it, man. I want to salute you that on the radio side, definitely, man. Because
I appreciate that. That brings me to something I did want to say, because I know in these conversations a lot of information gets shared, and just good bullet point information is really good, like stuff to take away. And this is the thing I wanted to say. Every time I step to them turntables, on stage, whatever, I always treated it the same. And that was, you never know who's listening. You never know. And I was going to say that before you said that, OS, and I was going to say that because Pays and I didn't know each other like that, and Pays gave me an opportunity to be on XM because he already heard me. And lots of times, even as I move forward in life to this moment, it's all because someone heard me. All international stuff is not because people met me. It's because they heard me. That's it. Smash every night, every day. I treat it like it's a boxing match. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I know I speak that now, but I did that then. It's a mentality that with DJing, y'all know kung fu chop chop, man. Like who the best? Like, you know what I'm saying? Me and JC, Mars, all them down in Atlanta. That's why what you was catching was frustration from who knows, God knows what. But when I got on the air, that's it. You know what I mean? You know, so that's what I'm saying. Don't get it was on the air, you good, kill it every time, because you don't know where your next job coming from. Kill it every time. That's my takeaway.
Exactly. It was real quick. It was a DJ, and some of you guys know him, may have known his name is DJ B out of Virginia, and he tells a story where he was in Richmond, Virginia, and it was a club, and there was 35 people in there. One of the 35 people was a program director. And that's how he got to be where he was in the club going hard for 35 people, not just going crazy showing off, but he was doing his thing. And I try to tell people, when you sending mixes or you doing internet radio, when I come in this room, wife don't bother me, I go hard every single time because I don't know who's listening. I don't know who's listening. And sometimes I get great responses in my DMs, man, can I get that mix or this, that, and the third? You never know.
Hey, on a DJ tip, let me just say this too. And I know you all may know this, but let me just say this just in case somebody doesn't understand. On the radio, the low quality files, you can hear it. Putting the button, because I don't use it, so I don't know what to call it, where you keep the pitch the same and you blend it together on the radio, it sounds terrible. It was something else too. It's like, I'm gonna have to just write, like, it's like simple bullet points that no matter
Too
what.
many bots. I got one. Don't
he was just about to say it too.
drop so many damn bomb drops inside.
Yeah, the sound effects. They that's my Achilles, man. I hate.
And why would it be? This is just me. Why it got to be a horn? We're driving. Though, is somebody may don't know, or it's you. And my nephew,
I'm gonna tell you, like, real talk, and I can't.
My nephew, and I'm on his ass.
This is how I see it. Horn drops and bomb drops cover up shitty ass blends.
We know that, right?
That's a fact.
That's all it's for.
But they call it traffic jams, actual traffic jams.
Yeah, like,
you know, the crazy part about it is sometimes I send in a mix, I keep it real light, and the host is still putting in all these drop bombs and the station. I tell them, man, don't put all that in there.
And I'm gonna tell you, like, on some radio shit, and I see, like, listen, man, I see research and I look at shit every day. Yo, the first thing that'll turn off, and most of the hip hop stations, they target demo is a female. It's like the club. If you let the first 500 ladies in free, the dudes are gonna come, and that's how you got to program a radio station. You program to the women, dudes will come. But you want to turn off a woman, start doing all that shit. Start playing all them fucking drops and blowing up and, you know, slamming fucking records and doing all that shit. Start doing that and see how long. See, it'd be grand opening, grand close.
They hate. Well, for some reason, ladies hate beat juggling. Like, they don't like to bring it back. And if you're gonna bring it back, 3 is the max. That's it.
Yo,
don't go no more.
There is listen, I put DJs in different categories. There's DJs and there's fucking turntablists. The good thing about, like, Nabs is a great DJ, but Nabs is also a turntable. But there's some people that are just turntablists, can never. I used to have a kid, and when on my first program, I was in Wilmington, North Carolina. His name was DJ Nominon, and the dude was sick. I mean, he was doing tricks, he was flipping, but it wasn't good for radio. He was taking his shirt off. You know, that was killing it. I was like, God damn, we on the radio, man.
This is my formula when it comes to sandwiching records, as we were talking, Nabs was talking about earlier, sandwiching records. My formula is just with today, and it all depends on if sometimes DY may put me on at 5 or put me on at 9 or something. I'll play a dope throwback from 3 years ago. I mean, a smash record. and I'll let that go from the hook to the verse to the hook and get out of there to just give energy and then just come back to a playlist record. I won't give you the whole song on that because my philosophy that I do is I want my next song to be better than my last song. And that's my philosophy throughout the whole mix, because it takes me longer to pick out my songs than the mix, because I'm kind of strange, but I'm looking at the records that I'm putting in these folders and the songs is playing in my head. So I know what this is gonna how this is gonna work. And like I said, when you sandwich it, like Butterfingers down in Charlotte is one of the best at sandwiching records.
Well, all mixers can play the hottest 20 fucking records out. You can play the Pop Smokes. You can play all those fucking records and get them in. What's going to make the difference is what you just said. The difference is those records that you put in between some of those hits, those transitional records is the ones that's going to make you stand out. When I talked about that kid in Atlanta I heard last week, baby. Yo, that kid was ridiculous, man. He was one super dope because he was playing all the hit shit. Like he was playing if I look at the top 10 chart right now, he played all the fucking records. But then he was playing these other records and he was doing those blends. And he was taking the acapellas and he was taking the instrumentals. And Bro Rab is my mixer. Bro Rab does, he's on my nationally syndicated show every night at 8 o'clock. It's a classic hip hop and R&B urban AC show. But he does those. Bro Rap does those great records. He'll take the Bad Habits acapella of Usher and throw it over, Mobb Deep Shook Ones or some shit like that. Like that's what sticks the fuck out.
It's the creativity. Like I said, anybody can. I try to tell a lot of people, even on the internet, anybody can just play records and mix them back to back. It's the creativity. Like I said, for me, I have to play a lot of what's out now, so I can't just do the same thing each week. I gotta make something different. You know what I'm saying? Each and every Saturday, it can't sound the same, but I gotta play these records. So it's all about what I'm sandwiching records and stuff like that. So, hey, everybody on the panel, you got any last words before we wrap it up? Because I wanted to keep it an hour. So, because we definitely I'm gonna definitely bring you guys back.
I appreciate y'all having me. I appreciate y'all having me. OS can give any of my contact info. OS, you got it. You can send it out there, but I'm cool with it. I appreciate you having me today.
Thank you. Nabs, any last words, my brother?
Man, I'm trying to think of it, man. These conversations can go.
I know, man.
I thought of 10 good last words.
Well, with the next one in a couple months, hang on to them because I'm gonna have you back in a couple months.
Look, though, listen. No matter what, study the craft because if this is mix show, all great mix shows have happened. Mr. Magic, what's the West Coast version? G-Man. Anyway, it come to me. I'm just saying great mix shows have happened throughout the years. And one thing about it, man, is, it's the love, cohesiveness for bringing music together. And then right now, DJ should be finding a way to catch that next wave. Because that's also what a pull. If you know what's the next wave is and you can move in that direction before everybody else, anybody can play the trap right now. That don't make you special.
Exactly.
The West Coast version was Greg Mack.
Greg Mack.
Mack Attack.
Yeah.
Right. These all mix shows, man. There's something about the great ones that everybody remember. There's something in them.
Definitely. All right, man. We wrapping this up, man. Like I said, we're gonna keep this culture going. I'm gonna do this once a month. I'm gonna recycle and bring you guys back in about 3 or 4 months. We're gonna talk about some more topics that people are still asking questions. But this is for the culture of DJing moving forward. So I want to thank everybody for coming on this call, man. And I want y'all to have a blessed, stay safe and everybody be good. Nabs, I'll be in touch.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Days, I'll be in touch, man.
And maybe Pave will take me to lunch with his new neighbor. I don't know why.
I mean, you eat that bougie ass, you probably want like a little coffee and a Danish or some shit.
Right, exactly. Like,
wear the vest, baby. Find the vest and wear it to the lunch, baby. Let's go.
We semi outside, so I see you. All right, y'all.
All right, Fleet DJs, hit us up in the chat, man. We can continue this a little bit in there. Me and OS, we'll be around if y'all got questions that didn't get in, so just hit us up. We're going to jump in the family chat and just chop it up, all right? We see y'all, man.
See y'all.
Peace.